Welcome back to Eat Sleep Game, everyone. My name is Luke, and welcome to the second attempt at the first ever episode of the Eat Sleep Game podcast. We did try to do this last week, but we just had loads of technical issues from my co-host Jake having a power outage and trouble with his internet, and my audio being a bit terrible. So we kind of abandoned it and thought we'd start again this week. Speaking of, I am, of course, Luke. Like I said, you'll know me from my reviews and other rambly stuff that I do on the channel. But my new co-host is my good friend Jake. How are you doing, Jake?
Yeah, I'm all good, dude. Hoping things go a bit smoother than last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise all good. How about you, man?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty excited to talk about a couple of the things that are on here today. So essentially, we're just going to pick bits and pieces from the news throughout the week, and just discuss some things. This is going to be a bit of a Nintendo heavy episode, but we'll get to that right at the end, considering how big a chunk that is after the Direct. Yesterday, was it? The other day? I don't remember.
It was a couple of days ago, weren't it? I mean, it should be a fun thing to talk about at the very least.
Absolutely. So we're going to start off with a news story that's really just for me. Actually, saying that, did you ever play Ratchet and Clank? Are you into Ratchet and Clank at all, Jake?
So Ratchet and Clank was one of those games as a kid. Talking specifically about the first two because I never got any further than those two.
Okay.
Hugely addictive. I mean, you're going to throw little coins about the place and make me collect them so that I can go and upgrade guns, so that I can collect more coins, so that I can upgrade other guns, so that I can collect more coins to upgrade ships. Yeah, I was all over that.
I
adore
those games.
Yeah,
I'm such a huge fan of them. I picked up the they re-released the original trilogy and it's still great.
Wait, when did they do that?
That was PS3. So a while back. And then they did a movie tie-in, which was kind of confusing because it was based on it was a movie based on the original game, but then the game was based on the movie, and it was odd, but the game was good.
Wait, what? They did a movie? I didn't know they did a movie. That's
just play the game. You get the movie in the game. It's way better than.
Oh, okay, fair.
I know that PS4 Ratchet was so good and it looked incredible. But no, the new Ratchet and Clank exclusively releasing on PS5 called Rift Apart is going to be coming on June 11th, and I am so excited for this. Like I say, I love Ratchet and Clank, and it looks really cool. I think it's going to be the first proper game to show off what the PS5 can do, and I just can't wait to just go back into Ratchet and Clank because it's not following on from that movie game. It is going back and following on the franchise as it was before.
Okay, interesting.
Super excited about.
Yeah. So basically, they messed up with that movie game, or just it wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, not sure. It was a bit of an odd one. I don't know how well the movie did. I take it not very, but the game was really, really well received. I'm pretty sure it sold pretty well. So they could definitely have just continued from the game side of stuff. But there was, from a lot of what I was seeing, there were complaints that it wasn't the Ratchet and Clank from the games. It was kind of like almost like a bastardized movie version. Ratchet was like quite cool and stuff like that, and he was never cool in the games. He was always a nerdy engineer sort of thing.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm very, very excited. When it launches, I'd imagine I'm going to do a first impressions video, which I've started doing on the channel now, where I just play like the first half an hour and talk over it, just ramble for a bit about it and see how I actually feel about the opening half an hour or so. I'll probably keep doing that because I'm not doing reviews on brand new games anymore. I'm doing a bit more retroactive stuff and going back to it a bit after. So like like Days Gone, for instance, when that launched, it was pretty buggy, but then within a couple of weeks it was all fixed, and actual review scores didn't take that into account, and a lot of people want that sort of stuff to be looked at and rejudged, sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Like day one patches are always a thing, and day two patches, and foreseeable future patches as well. But it's a good game. Was Kingdom Come Deliverance buggy as hell when it first came out, but they pretty quickly stamped down on it. So yeah, that's probably the better way to do reviews anyway. Realistically, it gives you a more realistic impression of what's actually going on. But
for sure.
Ratchet,
unless it's something like Cyberpunk where that is just completely broken and stuff like that. But
I mean, I feel like Cyberpunk's becoming a bit of a taboo word like these days. Like you want to talk about a game that's gone bad, then Cyberpunk. The potential was there, but they killed it.
It still is. I don't doubt that they will fix it. Hopefully in time for me to do a review in about a year or so. That'd be good to look back on. That'd be an interesting one.
I did just see it listed on CD Keys for about £15. So
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm feeling like I might pick it up anyway now, just because
I think that's a really safe time to do it, because once they patch it and stuff like that,
the price is going to go
shoot back up.
Yeah. But I was just in shock. I just went on there just to have a little mill about at what was on there, and £15 bargain.
Wow! I mean, I got mine for 40. I got mine for 40, and I thought that was a bargain at the time.
Well, even 40 was a bargain at the time, like especially for initial release these days. I mean, I'm not happy about £60 game releases.
Well, I mean, exclusive like PS5 games are going to be 70 quid.
Oh, don't. So you're telling me this Ratchet and Clank game coming out is going to cost £70?
It is.
Because Ratchet and Clank isn't the sort of game that I picture in my head that costs £70. Like, I understand they put a lot of effort into it, and especially with like the new PS5, the next gen tech that they're using, and that it's probably worth a bit more than the £30 asking price of the PS2 era. But £70 is a lot of money. I mean, but the way I look at the cost of a game is hour per pound. So if a game's costing me 70 quid, I want at least 70 hours worth of decent story gameplay. That's not even including like me wanting to go off and do other nonsense.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, completely gay. Yeah. Have you ever looked at is it Steam Calculator, I think it's called, where you go in and type in your Steam ID or your Steam username, and it tells you like a bunch of information about how long you spent playing certain games and how much you're getting out of your games.
I have not, but I am.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting to look at, and it's always because like I pick up loads of games when they're in sale. Not so much recently because not a lot's going on sale that I actually want anymore, but that makes for hard reading sometimes. When,
I bet
you've got a lot of games that you just haven't got around to yet.
Oh, I mean, I've got untold amounts of games that I've not gotten around to yet.
Same.
It's kind of scary to look at. I mean, I just literally opened Steam up and yeah, I mean, I think I have about 10 games actually installed, and it's not that I don't have the hard drive space for it. It's just
yeah.
I just don't play them.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. You got to be in the mood for certain games, and some games you just gotta line up for the right time.
Yeah.
100%. If it's a big game, like, you have to set time aside for that sort of stuff. Hey ho. So our first proper news story is Sony potentially being sued over controller drift, which is something that Nintendo have quite a lot of an experience with these days. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the law firm's name because I've stared at it for like an hour and I cannot.
I mean, I feel like you should at least give it a go.
I don't actually have it written down.
Well,
I purposely left it out, so I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to butcher their name. Thankfully, I think I don't want to insult them that far. But an American law firm, we'll call them, is filing a lawsuit. They've gone as far as to say that Sony were aware of the issue before launching the consoles and the controllers. and they've called Sony's actions fraudulent, deceptive, unlawful, and unfair. Now I don't know where they've got the information that Sony knew about the controller drift, but I don't know. I feel like it is just one of those things that happens.
I mean, define controller drift.
So that's when like you won't be moving your control sticks, but your character or your camera, depending on which stick is affected by it, will just like veer off, sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. So it's something that
Nintendo
happens
have had it a lot.
Yeah, it happens to all controllers eventually. If you actually play your consoles, or if you leave your controllers like tipped on their joysticks. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, how long's the PS5 been out for now? Not very long.
No, not long. November, so it's coming out for 4 months. I mean, it depends how much people are playing, how much what sort of games they're playing. If they're playing highly competitive games where they're vigorously having to move around like a football game or any kind of sports game or a shooter or something like that, this is something you kind of expect to happen eventually. Like, I've got 2 of the PS5 controllers, and both of mine are fine. I haven't had any issue with mine so far. There have been a lot of, or there has been some talk about the adaptive triggers breaking as well, so they just completely lose any resistance. But again, I haven't had that, thankfully.
Maybe that's Sony being a bit up themselves with the old, we've been doing this for years. Let's not put it through the complete rigorous testing. Because you know what they do, like Logitech as an example, they make a new mouse and they click the button as many times as possible under a machine until it stops working.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's really interesting to watch.
It is actually. It's one of those weirdly satisfying things. But maybe Sony just skimped out on that. They're like, we've been making controllers for years. Maybe. It's essentially the same design and everything. It'd be fine. But you're talking about competitive play and ruining controllers. So when I was really heavily into playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, I would rip through controllers every couple of months, and that was me sort of like playing that game for a good few hours, like every day, trying to sort of get into or learn fighters more than anything, actually. Because I was never really the best at fighting games, but for some reason, the Dragon Ball IP sort of made me want to get into it a lot more. But yeah, I'd have to replace those controllers quite frequently, and that's back buttons and analog sticks going on me. It's like you say, it really just comes down to what people are using it for. If I can't picture a company like Sony, especially not on like a flagship thing like the PS5.
Yeah. I highly doubt it's a malicious thing by any stretch. I think it is just one of those things. It's a new controller. It is something that, I mean, like I said, Nintendo have had this a lot with the Switch. Even with the Switch Lite, like the smaller, where the Joy-Cons don't actually come off.
To be fair,
that still does happen.
With the Switch, it's so tiny. Like, the controllers were always going to break fairly quickly.
Ironically, I didn't have it on my actual Switch. I had it on the Pro controller.
Oh, really?
But then I literally just took it apart and dusted the insides, and it fixed it, thankfully. Which that was pretty scary for a minute, because I was like, I don't want to buy a new Pro controller. I love the Pro controller, but they're not cheap.
Yeah, I was tempted to replace my Xbox controllers for the Nintendo Pro controller for the PC.
Sure.
Just because they look a little bit more sort of like ergonomic. It looks a bit more like something I'd want to hold. Whereas I find like the Xbox One era of Xbox controller was a little bit too chunky. I'm going to use the word chunky.
Okay, fair. I mean, after using the PS5 controller and going back to, I've got an Elite 2. It feels weirdly small now.
Oh, really?
Because the PlayStation controller is bigger now. The PS5 controller is a lot bigger. It feels oddly small, even though it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of difference between the PS5 and the Elite 2. You can really feel like it feels weirdly small in your hands after a while. Bit odd, but I mean, I think there's I think this would be one that'll be pretty easily fixed with Sony just doing the same thing that Nintendo did and just offering either replacement controllers or fixes.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
if I had a PS5 and Sony started offering replacement controllers, I'd just tell them my one was broken anyway.
yeah. I mean, it's something Nintendo did. You just send them your Joy-Cons, they fix them, and then send it back. Like I'd imagine Sony will end up doing the same, and then I don't think anything else will come of it. I think that's just kind of the end of it, really.
Yeah, and that should be the end.
Nintendo have had loads. Yeah, absolutely should, because it's not like they're ignoring their issue in that case.
Yeah,
They
exactly. They're
fixing it.
solving the problem. Yeah, okay, it means that your player's not got a controller for X amount of time, but you know, things happen.
Yeah, they do. And like I said, it's a brand new controller, it's a brand new console. Things are bound to go wrong. It's just one of those things that is going wrong at the minute, unfortunately. Moving on to our second news story. It's most of this came out last week. So you might remember seeing that 6 Days in Fallujah randomly popped up again with a publisher whose name I'm forgetting, confirming that, yeah, it is being made, and yes, it is coming out this year, apparently. That same publisher has come out and said that it's not trying to make a political commentary. So it's not trying to make the game about the politics, stuff like that. They've said the game will not grapple with the political machinations that led to the titular conflict, and will try to inspire empathy for the American troops in the field for their work destroying insurgents that dug in throughout Fallujah, and for the civilians trapped in between. So they're focusing on the people rather than the political decisions, which I get. But I don't know, trying to say they're not going to make 6 Days in Fallujah and that conflict political kind of feels like they're going to miss out a huge chunk of the story. It feels like,
I mean,
you're missing the inciting incidents and stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole thing is a massive political, like, tin of spaghetti, I guess. Like, you can't open that tin without going all the way through it. And the focus of it, especially based on what they're going for, definitely needs to be on the people, and how they're reacting to what's going on. But I mean, it's gonna make a political statement at some point, because it has to. I mean, it's a war game for one.
Yeah, exactly. Just being on one side of it is making a political statement.
Unless
it's stating that you
play it from both sides. If they actually go that far into, we're not making a political statement, you play through this way and then you play through that way, and experience it from both sides.
I have seen people online wonder whether you will be able to play as both sides, even if it's just like on a multiplayer mode, for instance. But I think the fact that they've stated American troops makes it kind of obvious that they're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, it does really drive that way, but it would be really interesting if they could do something like that. I mean, if anything, it'd help to show empathy from both sides of the field, rather than it just being, we're looking at what the Americans are doing again, and we're sympathizing with their side of the argument. I mean, not to get into the politicals of it too much, but good and evil on both sides is the bottom line of it, and it could learn a bit from that. But yeah, I mean, they're going to make. I mean, they're making a political statement in the sense of you're playing from the American side anyway. Like,
yeah, absolutely. It's kind of an impossible thing to avoid. Like, it's like you said, it's a highly political situation that they're making a game about. I get what they mean in that they're not trying to make it political, and they're not trying to make a particular commentary. They're just trying to make it like almost like documentary sort of thing. They're just trying to show you what actually happened from the perspective of certain soldiers and civilians and stuff like that. But it's still inherently political, so they can dance around it as much as they want. But it is just one of those things that games have been doing for ages, saying they're not political and then marching on whatever political monument they are, like The Division did, or countless games have done. I kind of get why they want to stay clear of, being overly political, but it's not a bad thing.
I mean, it's opening up an old wound, like in a sense, for many people, I imagine. But yeah, it's like I say, I just believe they've already made the statement by choosing to make the game. So
yeah, and the fact that they're focusing on the American side. Yeah, they clearly are going to make. Well, I don't know if they're going to necessarily make the American side heroes, but they are going to be the focal point sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe like maybe they do it like Spec Ops, where they do show, the good and bad of both.
The thing is, it's hard to not glorify the side that you're on. I mean, I've not played Spec Ops,
sure,
but like I imagine, even if they have been like, okay, well, this is some like really abhorrent stuff that happened as well on the team that you're playing for, but you're still playing for this team.
Definitely in the beginning, before you clock what's going on and things start unfolding. Definitely at the beginning, it is like, we're the good guys, we're here to save stuff. But as it starts to unfold, it does get really interesting. It does get a bit like, oh shit, okay.
Wait, maybe am I going to have to play this game now?
I highly recommend it. It's so good. So good. It's a shame that we're not ever going to get a sequel or kind of continuation sort of thing. But
is it on Steam?
Maybe. Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I played it on Steam.
It's cheap as well. Okay.
Oh yeah. It came out a long time ago. I can't remember when. I think it was around 2010, 2012. I think
2012. Yeah. Oh geez. Oh, see.
Nailed it.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll play that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's really, really good. Really good, and the twists it takes, really cool. And if Fallujah can get halfway as good and have a similar sort of narrative, it could be incredible. And like I said, I've said before, and I think it was last week's. It was the Phantom podcast that we did.
I like that, the Phantom podcast.
I've been watching a lot of Metal Gear stuff, so
okay, fair.
Phantom is very much in my head. But yeah, no, like if they do it right, it could be like a combination of Spec Ops and Hellblade in the way that they're getting people in to tell their actual stories and get it as close to their perspective as they can, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's
it could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Have a bit more, like I say, a bit more documentary style.
Yeah. Not to go down the Hellblade rabbit hole again, but if you've not played that, play that. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a really good take on what you can do with the medium of games, essentially. Very big learning curve.
For sure. Our next, and it's going to be the last story we kind of talk about before we get into the weeds on a couple of topics, is that EA I turned to a bit of a farmer then. EA has officially bought Codemasters. This has been going on for about a month or two, I think it is. They've snatched Codemasters from under the nose of Take-Two for 1.2 billion, which means that EA will also own IPs like Dirt and Grid. We're still not sure how or what it means for the F1 license, if they'll keep making the F1 games. But I'd really like Codemasters to take over Need for Speed, really, because Need for Speed's been a bit dead for quite a long time now.
What was the last decent one?
Good
Most Wanted?
Most Wanted was good. Yeah.
That's the last good one I can remember.
I can't remember. They kind of all mush together.
I love racing games. So like Project Cars, I think for me was Project Cars 2 more specifically for me was like one of my standout ones.
Project Cars. I think Project Cars might actually be Codemasters.
Is it Codemasters? Oh, interesting. But yeah, no, I was a massive fan of that game because it had like so much you could sort of tweak and but it was very much a run off the mill, like you're racing on tracks. It's like you say, Need for Speed, awesome games, had really ridiculous, like Fast and Furious-esque stories. To be honest, it's almost hard to tell who inspired who, because you look at the first Fast and Furious film, it's a little bit out there, but it's believable. And you look at the Need for Speed games, and especially like Underground 2, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous stories. And then all of a sudden, the Fast and Furious stories just take it to a whole nother level, don't they? But you know, seeing Need for Speed sort of come back to a decent car sim, whilst still providing a sort of out there story, would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So Project Cars is made by Slightly Mad Studios, who were bought by Codemasters in November 2019.
That's why the new one's rubbish.
Kind of. They launched that one before they got bought.
Oh, did they?
Like, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that could also be why the new one's rubbish, because they had no money left and was selling up.
Yeah, 2017, the second one came out.
Yeah.
There's
a third one. There is a third one.
Oh, yeah, there is a third one.
When did that one come out?
There we go.
Because the second one's
came
good.
Out. When did it come out? August.
Yeah, so I blame Codemasters entirely then. They took...
No, because they didn't buy them until November.
Okay. Interesting.
Maybe there was talk, maybe.
It's just weird though, because that game literally went from, like, you know, Project Cars 2 was a really, really good and realistic racing sim as far as it goes for when it was released. And then Project Cars 3 comes out and it's like one of those arcade races that you go and stick your pound coin in and do a lap and run out of time. I mean, you know, it didn't have that mechanic in it, but it's the way the driving actually felt in it. Everything felt really floaty and just not right, and, you know, essentially was a big waste of money for me.
Yeah, I mean, the reviews are really mixed for them. So
hopefully...
Yeah, you're definitely not alone.
Hopefully EA can take those IPs and make them good again, eh?
Maybe. I mean,
I don't have that much faith.
Pretty good. They'll just add loads of microtransactions, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Would you like better handling for your car that's more realistic? Here, pay us £20. All right, cheers, mate. Yeah, EA.
Yeah. You're actually going to have to pay for that new clutch and stuff. Yeah. Not fun. Anywho's. So the next bit are going to be more topic based, but they are related to stuff that has happened in news recently. Jake, before we started, you watched the Mortal Kombat movie trailer.
Oh, I sure did.
What are your thoughts?
Well, the trailer, it started off all right, you know. I was like, okay, they got some like dark visuals going on, as you'd expect, and then I pretty much switched off, to be honest. I feel like I've seen the film through the trailer, because a lot of trailers seem to be doing that these days, where they just show so much of what's going on. And I get it; they was trying to do character reveals and that, but you know, I've now seen everyone sort of come together, and I've got a real idea of what is potentially going to be going on in their storyline. From watching a trailer, how long was it? Like a minute and a half, 2 minutes?
It's like 2-3 minutes long.
Something like that. And I don't know. I mean, Street Fighter, the old Street Fighter movies, they were great because they didn't take themselves seriously. And I think that's what made them, you know, I'm not going to say great films, that watchable films that I can still go back and watch now. And still enjoy for all of their daftness.
I think you touched on something there. I think is the real issue I have with this is that it seems to just be taking itself far too seriously. Like, Mortal Kombat is stupid. It's dumb. You can kick someone's face off. You can pull their spine out and stuff like that. It's like, it's meant to be fun and stupid, a bit gory. This seems like they're just going far too serious with all of it. It looks a bit like when they did that serious reboot of like Power Rangers, and it it's either going to be one of those where it's just straight up bad, or it's so bad it's like a spectacle sort of thing, I think.
To be fair, I'm down for incredibly bad films. Like I love a terrible movie. See Colin if you haven't. It's a zombie film.
Yeah. I remember you talking about that, yeah.
But Mortal Kombat, it's like you say, yeah, it should be dumb. It should be really daft. If anything, Street Fighter was the game that was a bit more serious out of the two, and that managed to make a nice daft film. Mortal Kombat, yeah, essentially all we want to see is more. So one part of the trailer I did think looked pretty cool is where he freezes his arms off and just rips them clean off his body.
Oh, yeah.
Looked absolutely awesome. Just make a film full of that and people will be happy, I'm sure.
Sure.
Don't give it a storyline.
I was going to say a weird point I saw online after this launch was why are they making movies about games that don't really have story? Like the focus is the gameplay. A lot of people don't care about the story, even though like apparently in the newer Mortal Kombat games the story is pretty good and they are like weaving narrative a lot more like they did in Injustice and Injustice 2. But they seem to pick. They don't go with like narrative heavy video games.
No,
which is odd. Like Mario, for instance, like Mario doesn't really have a story other than you're going to get Peach from a different castle.
Yeah, but I mean, I ain't being funny. That old Mario film is just fantastic.
It's one of those so bad it's a spectacle.
I love it so much.
I haven't even watched it.
Have you not?
I have not.
No, you need to get on that. You need to.
I want to. I do want to, but it's never been like it never like pop up on Netflix or something like that, and it probably never will.
I don't think
I will have to go out of my way to find it, which probably means I'm never going to watch it because I'm not very good at watching things anyway. Unless I'm actually in the cinema or I'm hooked.
I'm gonna order the DVD and get it sent to your address, just so that you have to watch it.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to be even more annoying.
I'll do that.
I'm going to order it on VHS, so you're going to have to get a VHS player. Experience it in all its glory.
Super expensive now.
Yeah, I imagine that is probably quite expensive, actually.
I mean, I don't know. Part of me is really looking forward to this, just to see how much of a mess it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to watch things full.
Yeah. Because I mean they've got to juggle so many characters as well at once, which again is the issue with trying to bring a fighting game to a 2-hour, 2.5-hour movie. It's like you've got to juggle like 20 odd characters at once that all have different levels of lore and character motivations and stuff like that.
Oh, and every single one, and then you've got to boil that someone's favorite character as well. So you've got to make sure you do them all justice.
Yeah. I mean, look at the reaction to like Sonic when that first launched, or the trailer first came out, and he looked creepy as all hell.
Cancel culture at its finest, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the Sonic movie didn't turn out too bad. That was actually fairly good.
No, I mean, I definitely fell asleep. But I mean, that's a me problem as opposed to a problem with the film. But
sure.
Yeah, Jim Carrey was always going to do a good job. I mean, it's Jim Carrey playing Robotnik.
Yeah.
They probably couldn't have cast that any better. Or could they? Could they have? I can't.
It depends how they want to do. If you wanted to go serious, I think like Alfred Molina from
okay.
Is it Alfred Molina? Yeah, from Spider-Man 2. Yeah. I think could have been cool if they were going to go super serious. But then I think that wouldn't have worked as well.
No, especially not with that god awful Sonic design they originally had. I mean that was the stuff of nightmares, man. That was literal nightmare.
Yeah. That absolutely was. Like when he smiles, it just. Why does he have human teeth? It was so freaky, so freaky. Dear. But the second one's going to have Tails in it, and I love Tails.
Oh wait,
Tails is my favorite character.
I didn't even know they was going to make another one. That's cool.
Yeah, they teased it recently. They dropped a. It's literally just like the title. It's just got Sonic, and then the 2 comes. I think it like flies in or something.
Is it called Sonic: The Green Hill Zone? Because that's all I really remember from the Sonic games.
It's not. It's just called Sonic 2 at the minute, but it might get a title.
Green Hill Zone.
It might get a title. That would be fun. Like I said, I love Tails. He can go as fast as Sonic, and he can fly a plane.
Yeah,
way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Easy.
Even Knuckles. I'd be interested. I'm more interested in that than I am the Mortal Kombat one.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, because we've talked more about Sonic now than we have Mortal Kombat. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But so that's summarized, isn't it? Mortal Kombat, very bad so far. I mean, it could wind up.
I want to get. But... I'm far more interested in the story that the games are weaving, because they're connecting like the original versions of characters to new ones and stuff like that. This just looks like a 90s movie to me.
Well, it's not necessarily like terrible. I mean, my thing with Mortal Kombat anyway is I never really got into it. I was way more of a Street Fighter kid as far as fighting games go. And the fighting mechanics of Mortal Kombat for some reason always confused me, but I could make sense of the Street Fighter mechanics, even though I wasn't very good at it. So I just kind of completely slept on Mortal Kombat. Even if I see an old arcade machine with Mortal Kombat on it, I wouldn't even think about playing that, especially not if there's a Street Fighter based one right next to it.
See, I was Tekken. I loved Tekken when I was younger.
I loved Tekken when I was younger as well, but I could only play Eddie, so I was one of them.
Yeah, fair. That's it. That's entirely fair. I don't have a good segue, so I'm just going to not segue. I'm going to do this awkward thing instead.
Really interesting story.
It is. It's one that's piqued my interest. So Konami they haven't confirmed, but it's come out that Konami are going to be outsourcing Silent Hill to another prominent Japanese developer. I thought we could just spend a little time just hoping, really, who it could be, like wishing. For all it's worth, there was talk that Bloober Team, who had made Layers of Fear and most recently The Medium, which I was not a fan of,
Layers of Fear were good.
I've heard that. I've heard Layers of Fear is good. I picked it up not too long ago in a sale. I haven't got round to it yet, but I did not like The Medium at all. So I'm very happy they're not Japanese. They're a Polish developer, and they teased that they were working on a big IP or with a big horror studio, and everyone was like, "Oh, Silent Hills."
I think that's everyone's hope. Like, like, please, someone make this goddamn game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who do you think it could be? Who would you?
I don't even know.
They have to be Japanese.
Just before we started, we sort of like briefly touched on this, and I said the name Kojima because if they could give him back his child, theoretically that would be the most ideal way for us to go about it. However, having said that,
and that's the most rumored one. That's the most talked about one that we hear a lot. There's been rumors for ages that Silent Hill is going to be a PS5 game, and it's Kojima's.
I think I'd actually be terrified of Kojima making Silent Hill now. Having seen the way, I know Metal Gear Solid 5, he was sort of like forced into that. It was an unloved project that he made because Konami told him to make it. But if you was doing it anyway, and there's countless fans of the series, surely you just put the effort in. Anyway,
I mean, maybe it was one of those where it was like, if you make this for us, we'll let you make Silent Hill, sort of thing. And then
true.
That didn't happen. We got PT though, which was awesome.
Yeah, PT was good.
But that got taken away, unfortunately. Do you still have it installed? I know you did a while ago.
No, I don't think I do anymore because I like flashed my drives. And then obviously Death Stranding. I've not played the game myself, but I've not heard much good.
I'm playing through it at the moment because that's the next. That's my first like retroactive review I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Because I had a bit of an agreement with Jordan from the Game for All podcast that if I play and finish that, he will play and finish Nier Automata.
Okay, fair.
He definitely got the better end of that.
Yeah, 100%.
I wish I got him to play something like he's not a fan of like turn-based games. So in hindsight, I wish I got him to play like Persona 5 or something.
Or nah, go Total War Warhammer. I'd be going for
go full on
hours. I had one campaign in that game that lasted like over 100 hours.
I mean, Persona 5 does as well, to be fair.
I've never played any of the Persona games. I keep meaning to check them out, but
yeah, Persona 5 is great.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been on my radar for the longest time. I just never get around to it. But
oh man, if I had a disc copy, I would shoot it over to your house immediately, because I've been playing Persona 5 Royal, which is like the kind of like the scholarship edition was to Bully.
Yeah.
And it's creeping into my top 5 games of all time.
Oh, nice.
So good. And the music's incredible. The visuals are stunning. It's such a good game. I highly doubt though that the people that make Persona 5 are going to be making Silent Hills.
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't
that could
really
be cool.
fit the boot. So as far as like publishers go, or developers go, I really have no idea who would take up the mantle of Silent Hill. And
no, the only other thing that popped in my head was Konami. No, that is Konami. Sorry, Capcom, which I thought would be really interesting, considering I'm still living off of Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah,
but they're going to be super busy with all the stuff they're doing anyway.
I mean, all the stuff.
So I'd be very surprised if it was them.
What are they doing at the moment? The Village.
Yeah, we've got Resident Evil 8 coming out. Not 100% sure after that, actually. I don't know. They might be working on a new Devil May Cry, because 5 did really well.
More arcade machines. Really well.
Probably.
Probably rehashes of the same games.
Developers and stuff like that have got
like Konami. That's all Konami does now, which is why I'm glad they're finally letting go of the Silent Hill IP.
Yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily. They're just kind of lending it out, I guess.
Oh no.
No. I hope this does
let
mean
it go.
Yeah, I really hope this does mean though that we are going to get that Metal Gear Solid remake.
Oh,
because I would adore that.
Oh. I didn't even think about that. That opens that up to be an actual thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's been rumored for ages that Bluepoint, who did the Demon's Souls remake and did the Shadow of the Colossus remake, stuff like that, they were working on 2 games at once, and we know one of them was obviously Demon's Souls now.
Yeah.
But what was the other one? And they posted this really weird thing. I think it was around Christmas, where they firmly tongue-in-cheek. I think it was some kind of like poem they made, and it like hinted at like 1,000 different games. But Metal Gear Solid is the one that keeps coming back up, and that is genuinely one of my top 3 games ever. I adore that game so much. I would love to see it in get the Resident Evil 2 treatment.
Even the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine would be fine.
Yeah.
I'd still be really happy with that. I mean, because if there was one thing Metal Gear Solid 5 did well, it was its visuals, especially for how large that map actually was. It was a big map.
Yeah, it did.
And there was a lot going on.
Incredible.
So, but yeah, I mean, obviously they can do a lot better than that now. I really want a Metal Gear remake. I want Silent Hill, I think, more than I want the Metal Gear remake. But I've got this love for anything horror related. So Silent Hill having a comeback. I mean, is it going to be a follow-on story? Is it going to be a remake sort of thing that they're going to do anyway? Is a question, isn't it?
I mean, they did kind of do. They weren't well received, but they did remakes of 2 and 3, I think it was, not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine if in an ideal world, it would be just picking up whatever Kojima was doing with Silent Hills and just pushing on with that. In an ideal world,
they're kind of hard games to remake anyway. I mean, you think about Silent Hill 1, why it was so good was because you couldn't see a damn thing at the very beginning and you shat yourself. Because you was a little kid.
Yeah.
Get that one out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they would be kind of hard to.
Well, ironically, when they remade 2 and 3, they forgot to put the fog back in.
Oh, you being serious?
Which, yeah, man, yeah. They didn't have the fog because they're like, we don't need the fog now. We have better technology. It's like, well, no, the fog made the game.
Yeah, the fog literally made the game. I mean, even a terrible Sean Bean film. I don't know if you've seen that. Again, I love it.
No, I didn't. No.
Oh no, yeah, you need to watch that. You need to watch that film. But yeah, the fog is all about that fog. As soon as you see the fog, you're like, okay, this is Silent Hill. I'm in Silent Hill.
I mean, even when it's like foggy outside, people are like, "Oh, it looks like Silent Hill." Like it's so like intricately tied to what the game series is,
and that's a madness, really.
It's a bit silly
when you think of Stephen King and The Mist. Like, surely when we see fog outside, we should direct straight to that. But nope, we go Silent Hill.
Yeah, I really hope it does. Like, as much as I have issues with Death Stranding, I still do really hope that Kojima gets to do his horror game. I feel like, just based off of what PT was, like when that came out, even it being just like an hour demo was the best horror game that I've released in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Such a shame that we can't play that. I have hankering to go back and play that.
I think you can still get onto it. I mean,
I'm sure you can get it online somewhere. Yeah.
Always going to be a way. Torrents.
Unfortunately.
Pirate Bay.
Yes. Yeah. Anywho's, moving on to our last topic. Nintendo held a direct for the first time in around 18 months. They'd done like mini, smaller ones that were focused on like partners and indies and stuff like that. But this was their big, this is what's coming in the first half of 2021 direct. And boy, it was a doozy.
I turned it off.
They kind of. I don't blame you. I sat through it and watched it because I was sure that there was going to be something pop up that I was like, cool. This is why I've got a Nintendo Switch for this year. But it never came. It never came. So I've got the list of, I think it's 30 announcements. And I'll go through them fairly quick because most of them you've probably already heard of. So we got some Xenoblade characters in Smash, which, is cool. The Smash editions have been a bit hit and miss for me. Some of them have been characters I know and think are really cool, like Sephiroth, for instance. That was a really cool one. I don't really know Xenoblade. It's not my thing.
I don't know Xenoblade either.
I don't know.
I didn't know anything about it, and I watched that trailer, and I was like, "What's Sean Bean doing in a fantasy game?" I know it's not actually Sean Bean, but
credit where it's due, though. I do like the way they do the announcement trailers for Smash.
Oh yeah,
they are really interesting and really fun.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty good. And a new character in a game like Smash, like, we may not like the character or know the character, but there's obviously people out there that are hype that character's added. So, and Smash is one of those games. The more characters you get in there, the better. The longer you can keep going playing with your mates.
Yeah. I genuinely think they could just not make another Smash game for a very long time. I think they could just keep adding to this, and I kind of hope they do.
So having not had a Switch,
they still added some really good characters.
I don't actually know how this one feels and plays. I'm still very much in the Smash Melee camp. I love the way that game feels. It's quick up, quick down. Whereas the more recent, the Nintendo Wii Smash, I forget what it's called, but
Brawl?
Yeah, that one was like really, really floaty. So, bar when I played your version of it, I don't actually remember what this version feels like, whether it was floaty or whether it was hard downs. But
I don't know. I'm not the biggest Smash player. I play it very, very casually. I only tend to play it when like a new character comes out or something like that. To me, it's somewhere in between, I think.
Which is probably a good thing. Please.
I always find that, especially with Smash Ultimate, the way they break the game each time new characters are added, because they completely rewrite the game. They completely redo all the characters so that these new characters actually fit in a balanced.
Oh, interesting.
They do ridiculous amounts of work for it. So I'm never gonna be like, this is stupid. I don't care about these characters, because there's like when they put like Minecraft Steve in, for instance, that was the most work they put into a character from what I'd heard, because just trying to get him and all of his Minecraftiness to actually work with the other characters was an absolute effort from the sound.
Yeah, I bet. Like getting Mr. Game and Watch to work.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'll probably play these characters when they come out, because I'm still on the quest to try and unlock all the characters, but this wasn't really one for me. I had no clue who they are, and still don't really. I just know they're from Xenoblade.
And they sound like Sean Bean.
Sean Bean's good.
Yeah.
Sean Bean is good. Except, oddly, in the movies he doesn't die in.
Yeah. Wait, which movie doesn't he die in? Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I don't know. There's one, and apparently it's not very good. Can't remember. I think it's a video game movie, actually.
That would make sense.
Ironically. Very ironically. Next, Fall Guys was announced for Switch. And that is coming this summer. It's also been announced for Xbox as well. So it will be everywhere in the summer.
Good, fun game.
I like Fall Guys. Yeah, it's really fun. I dipped off of it like 2 weeks after it launched.
Yeah, me too.
It's a lot of fun. I really hope that this does keep being a success. I do hope they can
localized multiplayer.
That would be incredibly
That's
fun.
all I have to say about it. Imagine five-man round just playing Fall Guys. Perfect.
Yeah. That would be chaos.
Or maybe we're just old-fashioned in the gaming world.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Just bring back split screen. Split screen's the best.
I mean, I guess we could do LAN parties, but yeah, that's a whole mission.
That is, especially when we're not allowed to see other people.
Oh yeah, there's a pandemic.
There is a little bit. I don't know if you've heard.
Sometimes. I'm not even joking.
Unfortunately, it's the norm.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, Outer Wilds was also announced to come into Switch. I don't know how well that's going to run on Switch, to be honest, but we'll find out soon. There are 2 Famicom detective games, which, as is in the title, they were originally released on the Famicom in Japan, but they never came out anywhere else, I don't believe. They look kind of interesting. I like detective games, but wasn't anything to shout about.
I mean, they just look like visual novels.
They do,
which is fine.
They do. I really hope there's some choice or something like that in there, so it does make it a bit less strictly linear, because then that kind of defeats the point of a detective game, I think.
Yeah,
but I'm sure we'll see. It is 2 separate games, and they are you pay full price for each. So I highly doubt it's ones I'm going to dip into. We've got Samurai Warrior 5, which cool.
Burn.
All right, that's coming in the summer.
Just burn.
Legend of Mana is getting a re-release. Very old game. It's about 20, maybe.
To be fair, Legend of Mana is not a terrible game. I actually remember that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's one I'd just rather play on PC.
Yeah.
Personally, because the point and click, not the point and click, sorry, like the turn-based nature of it, I just prefer those on PC. We've got another look at Monster Hunter Rise, which again looks really cool, but not really my thing.
I thought that trailer was.
Legend of Mana is coming out on June 24th.
The Monster Hunter one, I thought was terrible. I thought that looked really bad. I know it's a Switch game, but like,
yeah,
I guess that's just because I've seen the Monster Hunter World, is it called? I'm not that into Monster Hunter, but that game looks amazing on PC. It looks really, really good. And then I was looking at that trailer for Rise, and I was just like, well,
it's like they've tried to go for the like a kind of more cartoony anime aesthetic than a traditional anime aesthetic, and it's just kind of, it does look quite rough around the edges.
What it looks like to me,
but I've seen a lot of people that quite like it.
What it looks like to me is Final Fantasy Advent Children, not Advent Children. That was the film. There was a Final Fantasy game that come out on the PSP, and it looked really similar to that.
Oh, okay. Sure. Sure. I'm with you. I know what you mean. Yeah, that's coming out March 26th for those that are into it. I know a lot of people that are actually really interested in that. So I hope it's good for them. It's not for me at all. This one, however, is Mario Golf. I love an arcade golf game. I was a big fan of Everybody's Golf when that came out, or Everyone's Golf.
Yeah, they're just fun arcade games of any sort like that. It's always fun to play.
Yeah. So far, that's the only thing that's piqued any kind of interest from me. And then it kind of plateaus again. So that's June 25th that Mario Golf comes out. Tales from the Borderlands is getting re-released. It's popped up again out of nowhere. It kind of apparently it went away for a while, but clearly I wasn't paying attention to it because I bought it ages ago. So I've had it for quite a while. But apparently it went away for a while and it's just resurfacing everywhere.
Yeah, I was never interested in Borderlands. On
March 24th. Apparently it is very good. I still haven't got around to it because it's one I picked up in sale going like, I'll play that eventually. But that's meant to be like the best of both Borderlands storytelling and Telltale.
Okay.
So I'll get to that at some point. I'm not a big Borderlands fan.
No, me neither.
But
me neither.
I've heard very good things. I was quite interested in Capcom Arcade Stadium, mostly because it's got games like 1941, which I really like.
The thing is, I feel like they've just done this so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, there was... Yeah. At the very least, I remember the Capcom Arcade being on Xbox 360.
Sure.
And yeah, okay, I did pay for it, and I played it, and I really enjoyed it, and... as long as they got the original Marvel vs. Capcom games on there, that's fine. And, they still maintain the multiplayer. Good.
Sure. My only issue with it, and the only reason I haven't bought into it yet, is that you don't get the full range of games. You buy, and they've said it like you can plug in sort of thing, but you are just buying expansions and buying extra games sort of thing to add to the arcade.
Right.
So I'm not convinced if I buy it for certain games that those games are actually going to be there. So yeah, again, it's something I like the idea of because I've got I think it's Atari Classics or Namco Classics, and it's got like Galaga and stuff like that. And I love
Galaga.
I love
Galaga's
Galaga
addictive.
and stuff, but I don't know, man. This is. Yeah, I think if it was a full package, then it wouldn't be so much of an issue, but hey ho. Stubbs the Zombie is coming back. The full title is, what was it? Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse.
Oh, I should probably note this is where I turn it off.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because this isn't like a remaster or anything like that. It is literally just a relaunch. And I think this game originally came out in 2006, and I'm like, well, it's not exactly like Zombies Ate Our Neighbors or Parents or it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just another really odd re-release of a game that I don't know. I guess someone asked for. I don't know who asked for it though, but I don't know.
Some Egypt.
Yeah. And that's out on March 16th. We got to look at No More Heroes 3, which again is just something we already knew was coming, which will be coming out on August 27th, and it didn't look that good to me. Meh. Neon White looked kind of interesting. It hasn't got a firm release date. It's just winter. But it is a first-person shooter mixed with some like novelty looking.
So oddly enough, I actually have seen the trailer for Neon White, and I thought it looked really, really weird. Like the whole movement just feels wrong.
It does. Yeah, it does. It moves incredibly fast, and I'm not quite sure what I think of it. To be honest, it looks interesting.
Well, I don't understand how you move. Like, I get it, you're in first person mode, but I just
I'm not sure either.
Oh my god!
Like we just not again. It's not sure on this one at all. And DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. What? Like,
I mean, it sounds Nintendo, I guess.
I mean, it looks terrible. I honestly don't know who this is for. I get it might be a kids game, but don't we think kids get good? Like when I was a kid, I played good games. Like kids games don't have to be bad. You could do something interesting, but it just looks very. It looks like one of those really crap, like not even Cartoon Network shows. It just looks. It's almost a waste of the license. Like they have some really cool characters in there that they're using, and it just I don't.
I mean, they're obviously directing it to children. Just by that name.
It's just a quick like, this will shut the kids up sort of thing.
Yeah.
So parents are going to buy it. So hey ho, that'll be out on March. That'll be out in June 4th. We get another old game. We get Plants vs Zombies: Battle for the Neighborhood coming out in March. Again, I have issues with this game because it bastardized what Plants vs Zombies was.
So it completely ruined Plants vs Zombies. I was so addicted to that game, and I remember because originally it was just on iPhone as well, and it was one.
Oh, right,
it was one of those things that made me want to get an iPhone because my mate's sitting there playing it. It's like Doodle Jump, if you remember that. Sure. Originally, it was on iPhone before it was on other phones. So that game actually directed my choice to what phone I got at one stage in my life, which sounds kind of sad now that I think about it. But they I mean, it never had to be like that.
No. I mean, it was a fun idea to make it like the hero shooter that it became, but it was clearly just make money off of it. It wasn't. I don't remember. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the creator was really, really unhappy with what it became.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. It's supposed to be a casual tippy tappy phone screen game, and now all of a sudden it's Call of Duty / I don't know, any other first person shooter-esque thing.
Yeah, and like I think he got fired not too long ago from EA as well. So like he made them so much money from Plants vs Zombies, then his game gets bastardized and he gets fired.
Yeah, I feel for him.
Mad. I don't know if that's exactly the order it happened in. It happened 4 or 5 years ago now, but yeah, sucks.
No, it does.
I would have much rather. It would have been much cooler for me if they just put Plants vs Zombies on Switch. I don't think that's actually on Switch.
No.
Switch would be a good place for Plants vs Zombies. I would love that on there, but hey ho. Next up we had Miitopia, which is just. It's like mini games focused around your Mii characters. I think there's a story mode in there as well, but yeah, another old game coming back May 21st. That one. Then we got some Mario 35th anniversary themed Animal Crossing stuff. I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy. I know it's huge, but I don't know. I feel like this is a bit of a nothing even for that game.
Big old cash grabs.
Yeah. Project Triangle Story actually looked really cool. It looks like old school JRPG sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I really, really like the look of it. The look of it is incredible. It's the way they use the sprites against is really like 8-bit, 16-bit sprites up against like backgrounds that look a bit more high res, and it's really cool looking.
I'm okay with stuff like that.
Yeah, same. But that's 2022. That's not the first half of 2021. There is a demo out for it now, and it has got some good feedback from little bits and pieces I've heard, but that's not a 2021 game.
Actually, the art style looks really cool.
The art style is great.
Yeah, no.
I love the art style. I'm gonna keep an eye on that one. It looks I don't know if it's made by the same people that did the Octopath Traveler, but I've heard that it is, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I haven't actually looked into it.
Huh.
Next, we got one that piqued your interest.
Yeah.
Is Star Wars Hunters, but we've got no clue what that actually is because it was just a splash screen. Really, it could be an arena shooter. It could be
I feel
anything.
like I want to watch that trailer now just to see the splash screen.
I mean,
at least it gives you some idea of what the artwork's like. I mean, to be fair, this art style looks fairly interesting. Pretty straight up.
Yeah, the logo's pretty fun. It's not your traditional Star Wars. It is like quite colourful and quite bold.
Yeah.
And it's Star Wars, so
yeah,
I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it regardless.
Yeah.
We had Knockout City next, and I honestly can't remember what Knockout City is.
That's how you know I think game's left an impression.
I think it's like their kind of attempt at a Fortnite kind of game in the way that what was the PlayStation one that just released? I can't remember what the PlayStation was that just released, but they tried to ape Fortnite and what's the car one called?
You're asking me. That's normally my job to ask these questions, mate.
I'm blanking on the car game.
Blur?
Hold on. No. It's car football.
Oh.
Hold on. It's what happens when you try and do stuff after work. Rocket League.
Yes, that's what it's called.
It's what it's called. They tried to ape those two games and kind of mush them together, and it didn't end out well.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to end well.
This car game. What is it called? It's called not card game. Car game.
It is. It's Rocket League.
No. Sorry, I'm trying to find the PlayStation one.
Right.
Now. It came out on PlayStation Plus very recently, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is because it has not left a good taste. It was meant to come out like full price. It was going to be a £70 game, and then very quickly PlayStation went, "Oh god, this isn't that good. We're going to stick it on PS Plus so people can have it for free."
Nice.
Which I think was a clever move. Destruction All Stars. It's called Destruction All Stars. Yeah, which is annoying as well because some of the people that worked on it worked on some of the early Wipeout games. So you would, there's good pedigree there. Wipeout was great.
Yeah.
So it's a shame about that. Yeah, like I said, I don't really remember what Knockout City is, but it's coming May 21st. World's End Club, again, it's not one I remember too well. Club, let's have a quick gander. See if it rings any bells.
See, this is where I'm completely lost because I haven't been. I didn't watch any of the rest of it.
Yeah. So World's End Club looks kind of Danganronpa-y. Do you know what Danganronpa is?
Nope. Yes, I do actually. Yes. Yeah. It has an accompanying anime, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, it looks like a similar style of game to that. That is May 28th. So that looks kind of interesting. That could be cool. Hades is getting a physical release on March 19th. It comes with like an art book and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
But
if you've already got the game, then
I do. I've already finished it, beat it, put a review out. I love the game. The game is very, very good, but I think this is a bit late, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
It feels like, to have a direct and just be like, hey, yeah, that game that released a couple of months ago is going to get a physical version. Cool. All right. Then we're getting the Ninja Gaiden. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which is the first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean...
Again, I think they're just re-released. I don't think they're touched up in any way.
That's almost fine. It's like if you don't have an older console, then it's hard to play those games. And they are like the precursor to any Dark Souls game. So you must complete them before you are allowed to complete a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they also led to Neo, which has got which has been in the light a bit recently because they got I think they got like a graphic bump, or they got the first two got put in a collection, and they've been getting a lot of attention recently. So yeah, you could play 20-year-old Ninja Gaiden games, or you could go play Neo, which
It's fun.
sounds like is a better idea. That's June 10th for that collection. Age of Calamity is getting expansion passes through from May through to November, which cool. I dipped off that game, which annoys me because I really wanted to see the story because it's a prequel to Breath of the Wild. I really wanted to see the prequel through, but the Muso stuff it's very difficult to fully get through without falling off and getting quite bored quite quickly, unfortunately. But hey ho. Bravely Default 2 got a very quick mention. There's a new trailer for it, but again, that's something we already knew was coming out. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is one I'm looking forward to. I think Ghosts and Goblins is a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure is. Very hard.
And it's got a bit of a spit shine. It looks a bit better these days. February 25th, that is. Saga Frontier is getting a launch on Switch on April 15th. Apex Legends is getting a launch on March 9th. And then these final two, or this one specifically, is the one that irked me the most, because we've been waiting for Breath of the Wild 2 news for 2 years or so since it first got announced. And they put Keiji Numa on screen. Did I say his name right? I think I said his name right. I'm terrible at Japanese names.
I'm terrible at English names.
They put him on screen,
mate, so.
And we were all like they actually put him on screen, and everyone was like, "Oh, here we go, we're getting somewhere now." And then it's just a troll. He just turns around and is like, "I bet you're expecting me to talk about Breath of the Wild 2, but I'm not going to. We'll talk about that later in the year. Instead, Skyward Sword." It's like,
I mean,
what?
Skyward Sword is
Why?
easily my least favorite of the Zelda games.
You're not alone in that.
I mean, Zelda repetition is part of the game, but my God, that game in particular was just...
Well, making you have to use the all the motion controls and stuff like that as well. Nobody likes motion controls.
I'd rather have another Ocarina of Time any day of the week, because I can play that game every day. They could release a version of it every couple of years, and I'd happily play it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially if they alternated between that and Majora's Mask.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
I think that could work really well.
Mask.
There is a lot of talk of them also bringing Wind Waker along as well.
Yes.
But that didn't get confirmed or denied or anything. So
tell them to stop what they're doing right now, and
I hope. I hope they do. And like, they're cool. They find, like, I'm all for old games coming back and being given to new audiences that never experienced them, but this doesn't feel like, even when they showed it and showed the splash screen at the end, it's just HD. It's not like a full remake. It's just we've touched up graphics a bit. We've adjusted the motion controls so it'll work on Switch, and you can use, you don't have to use the motion controls.
To be fair, that was one of the worst parts of that game.
Yeah. And they've applied, if you don't want to use motion controls, to use your sword, it's on the right analog stick, which you'd normally use for like moving the camera around and stuff. So it sounds like it's just going to be super awkward to play. So I'm really not sure about this one.
Bring this back to Smash, actually, with that control mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
On the old GameCube controllers, you used to be able to use the C stick to do fight moves instead, and it actually worked oddly well. Like, I remember actually using that C stick sometimes, but it was more to do two things in conjunction. So it'd be like pushing a button and flicking the C stick to get two quick motions.
Sure. I'm not against using the analog stick necessarily for sword fighting.
Weird.
I remember, I think it was Blade 2 back on PS2 did that, and it actually worked pretty well. But that was a long time ago. I don't know. I I've got Skyward Sword already. I don't particularly want to pay for it again.
No, absolutely not.
And they ended the show. You know, it was quite an underwhelming show anyway. But then they ended it with Splatoon 3, which I get. Splatoon's, you know, it's got quite a lot of fans. It's got a fairly big following, but even from a lot of what I've seen, a lot of people are like, well, it looks quite drab. It looks quite, you know, brown and grey and stuff like that. It didn't have the colour that Splatoon is associated with. And it kind of just looks like more Splatoon. And I get that's what some people want, but it just looks the same in a different place.
Look, it should be
I
innovation.
feel like they could do more with Splatoon.
It's Nintendo as a company has the Call of Duty problem, a lack of innovation and just repeatedly churning out the same thing year after year. And you know, there's the playful side to it where, you know, some things, like I say, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, they could remake to their heart's content and I would pick it up. And, you know, there's probably people like that for every single one of these games mentioned. But there is a severe lack of innovation here. There's nothing going on.
Yep. No. And that was a lot of the fear, because last year wasn't a particularly strong year for Nintendo. They had a lot of cool third-party stuff, like Hades, for instance. But nothing really Nintendo. There was Animal Crossing, and I think there was something else that I'm forgetting. But otherwise, they've you know, it's been scraps for Nintendo fans, and I've seen a lot of fans that are, you know, they are pretty happy with this, and I'm wondering whether that's mostly because we haven't had a lot from Nintendo recently, so they're just kind of clutching at anything.
Oh yeah,
Nintendo's actually.
It's nice that they're doing something, even if it's rubbish. Like,
yeah,
something.
Yeah,
Mario Golf. That's probably the best thing on the list.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mario Golf. The only other thing is the ridiculously named. I can't even remember what it was called. What was it? Project Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
Which hopefully gets renamed. That looked really cool, but that's a 2022 game. And so is Splatoon 3. So they've teased 2 games that fall outside of the parameters of what the Direct was actually meant to be about.
They're probably doing that for, like, security reasons. They don't want to announce it too soon when, you know, we don't know how the rest of the year is going to go at this point, do we?
Yeah. I just think it's really disappointing because there are multiple anniversaries this year, and I think it was really poorly placed as well, because they obviously couldn't talk. They obviously had nothing Zelda to show. They clearly have nothing Metroid to show, which is also a 35-year anniversary this year. Pokemon's got an anniversary this year, but I think it's literally next weekend. I think it's next Saturday. And there's a separate event already for that, so they couldn't really jump the gun and announce things before that celebration happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It just feels like a whole lot of nothing here. Like, there are a couple of games I'm interested in, but they are 20-year-old games, a lot of them. And I went into this, I was like, cool, I just want to see something new. I want to see what I've got to look forward to as a person that owns a Switch and wants to buy new games. Mario Golf is the only thing on this that I'm actually looking forward to. And it might not even be one I end up picking up, because I like the idea of Mario Tennis as well, but I skipped that.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're fun if you can.
A chill game.
Yeah, chill in your living room with your mates and play it.
Which you can't.
Yeah, which you can't. Yeah. So why are you going to pick up a game like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
absolutely.
that's where Nintendo's struggling at the moment. Maybe in their heads they're like, oh, we want to make these games that are going to bring everyone together again, and we're going to break that playing over the internet thing. And I mean, that's a big hope, but
it is, and it's clear that Nintendo have just struggled with the pandemic on a whole. I think Japan has a lot because they've got a culture over there where it is, you know, work is over here, home is over here, sort of thing. But now a lot of that is mixing, especially in game development, where it is all work from home. I honestly think it would have been better if they just came out and been like, look, we've struggled as the whole world has. So here are a couple of things. Here are a couple of older games that are going to be coming out on, in a separate release. And then maybe wait until like halfway through the year and be like, this is what we got for the rest of the year. Because all the stuff that's coming out pretty soon is either stuff we already knew about or 20-year-old games.
Yeah.
Doesn't really feel like half of this needed. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot when he came out. It's like, it's going to be about 50 minutes long. So everyone's like, first direct in 18 months, and it's going to be nearly an hour. Oh, there's going to be some juicy stuff. Nah, nothing really, unfortunately. It's just kind of a waste of an hour.
Yeah.
I think I could have just got all I needed from an Instagram post. I don't think we needed an entire hour presentation for all of this, because there's nothing really, for me anyway, there's nothing hugely to get excited about. I know a lot of people are really disappointed with this. I know some that are fairly happy, but I don't know anyone that's just
I mean, I'm always happy to see the word Star Wars slapped onto something. I mean, even if it's a bad Star Wars game, it's still hopefully something that carries on the Star Wars story, because I know they do a lot of work with like any Star Wars game that comes out. They do a lot of work with the lore building. They have a name for it, don't they? I can never remember what it is though.
It was going to be Anthology, but it's just called Star Wars Stories now, isn't it?
Yeah, but
they just want everything to be canon now.
Yeah, which is a good thing to bring things back to that side of it, because having the legends in canon continuity gets a bit confusing sometimes.
Yeah. I think it can be a bit limiting in a way, because you have got to find a gap to squeeze into, sort of thing. But I'm not sure if Star Wars Hunters is going to be that kind of game. I feel like that is just going to be like a arcade shooter, maybe like a soft kind of Battlefront.
Oh yeah.
Or a Nintendo Switch, perhaps. Still be fun, but not story heavy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it could be cool. Like I said, there are positives from this, but it's not the direct that most people were expecting. It's not this is why you should be happy about owning a Switch in 2021. It is quite bare bones still, unfortunately.
I mean, it's not made me want to buy a Switch, so...
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the Switch is doing very well. Like, it is doing incredibly well sales-wise, but there are still going to be people that haven't got one like yourself that, you need that. Maybe like a Breath of the Wild 2, something like that will eventually tip you over.
No. I want one. There's enough.
Oh, for sure.
There's actually more reason.
But there's going to be a point where a game is going to get announced. Like, sick. Now's the time to actually.
I don't know. I think I still want a Switch more than I want the other consoles. But I'm still there with that at the moment. I mean, there's obviously quite a few exclusives to PS5 that I'd be tempted to, but I still sway more towards getting a Switch, and again it's because it's got those like more party elements where you can invite your mates around, have a couple of beers and play something stupid. Like WarioWare. They should make a new WarioWare.
Oh my god, they should. Yeah, that would be so much fun. That would be huge.
Nintendo.
That is exactly.
I'm available, Nintendo. Just if you need an ideas, man, like give me a shout. Absolutely.
I think they it is probably something that is in the works.
Yeah,
I'd imagine they know how popular WarioWare is, and I feel like once they might even be sitting on it once like the pandemic starts to blow over. It'd be like, sick. Here's all our cool party games. Maybe that's something.
What Mario Party are they on? 25.
9? I don't know. Actually,
they've definitely got through a few.
Mario Party. What are you on? I think 9. Was that Mario? Oh no! So the last one was Super Mario Party, which was not well received because they took all the crap mini games that people didn't like and put them into one kind of game.
Why? What?
Yeah, right. So the last numbered Mario Party was Mario Party 9.
Okay, well, at least by that sort of thought process, Mario Party 10 is going to be an absolute banger.
You'd hope so. Oh, wait, no. Mario Party 10 was the last.
Okay.
Why didn't that come up then? So Mario Party 10 was the last one.
There's just too many of them. It's like the Jackbox packs, yeah. Like, if you've got one of them, there's not too much point in buying one of the other ones, even though you feel tempted.
I just picked up whatever the latest one was.
Oh, really? Oh, we'll have to do that at some point, actually.
Yeah, 100%. They're loads of fun. So yeah, that was Nintendo's Direct. It was pretty underwhelming. Like I said, I was only really interested in Mario Golf, and even then it's only kind of a passing interest because I kind of like arcade golf games, but otherwise it's 70% old games coming, a lot of re-releases.
Hooray!
Yeah, exactly.
Go Nintendo!
It feels like they don't actually have a lot. Hopefully we'll get like a Legend of Zelda and a Metroid thing later in the year, because it is, like I said, it's big anniversaries for both of those, and it's a big anniversary for Pokemon. So hopefully there will still be stuff coming, but hey ho. Before we end, Jake, you playing anything at the moment?
Do you know what? Not really. I've been pretty like bunkered down in work this week, so
sure.
Haven't really had too much time to get into anything, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
Probably a bit late on the news for this one, but I'm excited because I did see that Total War Warhammer 3 has been finally announced after all this time. So yeah, I can sink another 400 to 500 hours of my life into that at some point. And it makes all the DLC that I bought over the years worth it as well, because there's going to be more and I can buy more DLC, and the wheels can keep on churning.
Yeah.
But no, I am genuinely excited for that. I think as far as like games go at the moment, that has been one of the bigger things that I'm excited about. I'm also kind of looking at picking up Baldur's Gate now, because I feel like it's been in early access for long enough. I know obviously it's not the full game, and no matter what, I'm getting the full game when the full game comes out. But I kind of just want to play it.
I saw I saw a trailer for that the other day, because my missus was just watching game trailers. Oddly, I was just sat there with her because there was some really
game
cool
trailers,
ones,
man. Sometimes you just do it.
Popped up and looked
it does.
incredible.
It really does.
It was the one where he's the tentacle. I don't really know Baldur's Gate, as you're about to find out, but the tentacle
Mr.
dude
Tentacle Boy
was flying his big tentacle ship, and then like dragons come out of a portal and start breathing fire on him. It was a really cool trailer.
I mean, obviously the game's absolutely nothing like that, but
oh sure.
As far as the trailer goes, yeah, sick. I Baldur's Gate, big childhood memories of those games, but
sure.
Yeah, I need to get into that.
Awesome.
What about you?
I've been playing Death Stranding, because that's as I said earlier, that's the first review, retroactive review that I'm going to do for this year. But I've also been playing a little bit of Little Nightmares 2.
Oh, mate.
Which you can see on my YouTube channel, because I did a first impressions where I played the first half an hour and just rambled over. I like it, but I'm not sure if it's sad news, but the developers have said they're finished with the series, so there isn't going to be a Little Nightmares 3, and they're moving on to do
understandable. I mean, Little Nightmares is very comparable to Limbo, and Limbo never needed a sequel.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares probably didn't need a sequel either, but I'm grateful that there is one.
Yeah, I mean, I completely blacked out all the marketing and stuff like that for Little Nightmares 2 because I loved the first one, so I was just like, yeah, I'm in. And I think I said it in the video I made where early on that I'm like, I don't know, maybe this could be a prequel or something like that. I still don't know if that's the case. I don't know if this is a prequel, because I felt like Little Nightmares 1 ended pretty
endy. Yeah.
Pretty well. Yeah, it felt like a proper ending. It didn't really feel like there was places to go after that, but I'm sure I will find out soon enough. But yeah, otherwise, pretty much the same. Been pretty heavy on work. mostly.
Yeah. Pandemic life, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna watch the latest episode of Mandalorian after we finish up here. Not the Mandalorian, sorry.
WandaVision.
I've just seen a picture of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, you're in for a treat, man. Good episode. Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it already?
Earlier. Good episode.
Oh, awesome. Oh, nice. I can't wait. Oh god, I'm scrolling on Twitter at the same time, which is a very bad idea. Don't want spoilers.
Yeah,
bad idea. But yes, that will do it for the first episode of the Eat Sleep Game podcast. Hopefully everything goes to plan and all the audio works and stuff like that this time. Second time's the charm, hopefully. If you have any questions, thoughts, opinions, ideas, concerns, or anything like that, we do have an email, which is esgvids@gmail.com. It's on my Twitter, it's on my Instagram, my Facebook. If you want to send us any questions that you want answered, any ideas for topics, any criticisms, anything you think we could do better on, anything like that, just send it on over. It's definitely something I will be reading through at the very least, because Jake doesn't have access to that email. But yeah, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Leave us some nice comments. I think this is going to be on Spotify and iTunes, so do iTunes things. I don't use iTunes, so I'm not quite sure if there's reviews or stars or whatever is on that side of stuff. I'm sure, Jake, you'll know that better than me having an iPhone.
I have not used iTunes in ever.
What do you use Spotify
for everything, man? Ever since that came out.
This will be on Spotify.
Yeah,
it's just easier.
It really is. It really is.
I was kind of annoyed that YouTube Music has taken over Google Music or Google Plays or whatever that was called. Google Music stuff was good. But hey ho, I'm rambling anyway. Thank you for watching, listening, and we will see you next week.